we went from this to this, and now you have surface. Think about it. In the next few years, I'm not into this prediction game, but in the next few years, every surface is going to turn into a computer. So you're at a restaurant, that table is suddenly beginning to perform for you. The restaurant, the menu would be open on the table. It would also affect your sensory nerves, which means the aroma will come out of the every menu item on the menu card on the table. So this Surface table is already there with Microsoft. And now from the table we have gone to the cloud, which means you don't need to buy laptops and mobile phones, it's all up in the air. And anything is an access device for you. You can actually call all your data from the cloud. You don't need servers, all this money being spent for needless hardware, that's all going to go. And this possibility exists in the next few years. Things are going to change dramatically. And that affects every industry. And you might think this is all technical stuff, I should read these things, but it affects every industry. Some of the people are slow to adopt that change, some are fast, and some are really, very fast. Now I'm really wanting to talk about this. You know about the Google Glasses, right? So there is a video camera right here on your specs, and you look at the world just the way your eye is seeing it. It's not like a video camera or a mobile camera, nothing of that sort. You're seeing just the way you see the world, and you can capture it. What is next in it? So they asked me at some of the organizations where I go, what is going to be the possible practical use of wearing a glass like this? I say, next time what happens is, I look at you, sir, I look at you, and suddenly the image is captured and sent back to the Google search engine, and all your data that you uploaded is playing up right in front of my eye. I've never seen you, I've never met you. In this instant, one glance, I know everything about you. Think about it. Next time, as a journalist, I go to interview somebody, I have these glasses on, I don't need to do all this damn research which I spent 3-6 hours. It's all there right in front of me playing, and that's the world coming to. So, where is the advancement? I don't know. People might invent it. Like I said, technical people can do magic in this world. What is going to be next? So they'll say, here's this guy who already wears his specs. Here's this guy who already wears his specs. So how does he wear another specs on it? So tomorrow they'll go and invent a contact lens which can do the same. Then they will say, the stem cell research has developed so much. Why not graft a stem cell when the baby is born and put it into its side? And it will grow with the baby. When it becomes an adult, it can actually perform all these things. And look, suddenly, in these 10 years, Professor Kevin Warwick's world is alive in front of you. Before I die, I'm going to be seeing this world. I'm 46 now. In the next 20 years, this will happen. Today, we are in this chasing game. That's what I'm afraid. I've actually requested a lot of you people to come here. Well, some of you are reporters, some of you are editorial people. I'm hard trained in journalism. A lot of things are beginning to worry me. A lot of things, and I'm going to share all that with you. So what is generally happening in the, and I'm going to be very straightforward. Please don't mind my doing that. Every newsroom I go, I've changed a lot of jobs. I've lost a lot of jobs. People have thrown me out of jobs just because I propagate change. And what is happening in the news world is everybody says, I am online division, I am radio division, I am television division, I am XYZ division. We will not talk to each other. No integration possible. And that happens all the time. Every time I say, you can't raise armies. You can't have an army of people sitting here doing your online work. You can't have an army sitting there publishing your, how many can you afford? And here, look at these upstarts. They are coming up. One person graduated out of school, and now I have an institution as large as your 60-year-old or 100-year-old newspaper. Can you stand up to that? You cannot afford to do this. You need better ways of working. And it's mostly about the mind. Like I said, it's not about newspapers not coming together with the radio. It's all about the mind. It's about the people who occupy those positions who are not willing to change for some reason. I don't believe it. Sorry, this is an interesting story. You know, in 2000, I was working with an organization, and this is about 2002, 2003. The internet wasn't such a popular medium, and they told me that why don't we start a citizens news forum, just the way you said it here. And I was trawling the internet looking for stories, the Big Bang story to start. I mean, everybody does that. So I trawl the internet. This is sitting on my desk, not moving an inch. I I sat there, I started crawling. Now I have some understanding of how searches work. I know about parts of the internet where probably some of you can't go. I know how to access those. I know where the stories reside. I'm part of too many groups, and I get to hear all kinds of peculiar stories going on. So here I met this chap. He's like a nomad wildlife photographer called Anuj Singh. He came there and he said, I've got this photograph, and this is taken in a place called Lahore city. This is Himachal Pradesh, very cold place, and this is the India-China border. And he said, I was on this bike expedition one day, and as I was traveling, I went to this transit where this is kind of an ITBP hub. You can't go, but that night they all sat drinking there, and the army jawan said, "Chalo aao tumhe Shah Rukh Khan se milane le chalte." So they took him to the top of the mountain. There was a broken tomb, and inside the tomb they discovered this. He didn't know what it was about, but people को चादर चढ़ाते हैं ना जो auspicious लोगों को, तो उसी तरह चादर local लोग चढ़ाते थे, but very few people knew about it. So online, I hunted this guy down, and he sent his photographs to us online. We were very intrigued. Probably this was the big bang story we were looking at to start our Citizens News initiative. So we sent this to Discovery. We got Anuj Singh in touch with the Discovery people. The Discovery people came here, investigated this, and came out with a very remarkable story. This is a mummy. India has its own mummy, mind you. And this is 500 years old, which is about the time Columbus discovers America. And then they came out with the story. You know, these are Tibetan monks who would come down from Tibet and walk, and they were pretty rigorous kind of monks. So what they would do is, when they would sense a problem in a local area, they would sit down like this in this meditation posture. It was like this, and they put their hand behind and sit like this with a jute restrainer running down the neck, under the thigh, and this was essentially to keep the monk in the same position. And he would sit there like this, and in case he pulled up like this, because of exertion, to choke him. So this was a very peculiar practice they had, and they would sit there like this and give up their life. Then they would give up their life, there'd be a rainbow in the sky, and the problem would disappear from the face in space. So we discovered this, and this huge photograph came up. Now listen to this. I wasn't entertaining you with the story. I was working for this pretty big newspaper at that time, and we came out with this story. We were the online division, run under a different management. The online division was under a different management, and they said, we can't use this story, you're online. And we were too determined. Because we had found this story after a lot of effort, and this was the first meaningful interaction. So we bought space, advertising space in our own newspaper, and put it up there. I've hidden the name. I don't mean to offend the organization. Very good, and I'm really devoted to that. But I put it up there. Next day, Reuters picked up the story, flashed it worldwide. Think about it. And story after story after story, and equally brilliant in its impact. I don't do political hard stories. I am into speeches, more or less. But these are good human interest stories, rejected each and every time. One of the stories was very important, and this is about our history and our understanding of Indian freedom movement. We kind of overturned the whole story because the evidence we got online was so powerful that the Indian government had to call us to depose this for it and, of course, bury the evidence. But we came out with all these stories, and mind you, in 2003, sitting online, sitting at our desk, we could discover these stories. Imagine the power that you have now. Are you using it? Or are you using the Facebook and social media and everything just to publish your stories? What all can you do with this? These are, like in the Delhi police, they say, your eyes and ears program. You can't be everywhere. You have beat reporting these days. So you go to the court, put your reporter there, but you can't be everywhere. Why not let the people tell you what the stories are? Then you can stand on it. Why not use this in so many different ways? But each of you will have to evolve your own systems to do that. Now I'll put you through a test. Next time, assuming you're all employers at an organization, and this kind of a resume comes to you. Can you read? So it says, Mr. Narendra Singh, living in New Delhi, he's age 24. He has a degree in modern communications has honors in HTML5, Visual Basic Java, and specialization in virtual investigation and cyber forensics. Will you give him the job now if he comes here? And to add to that, I'll just give you an extra twist. Assuming he's dressed like this. Will you give him the job? His pant is cut here, thread hanging loose. I put that earring deliberately. I didn't get that on Google. So I put that. Would you give him the job? But I tell you, he's going to be exceptional. You can't understand a thing in his resume today, but he's going to be crack shot. He can change the way your organization behaves. Will you give him the job today? Think about it.